This is a very nice run, and I'm going to go over 3 quick tips for you that'll really help you out. And the first one here is going to be on the timing of your front cross. So over here, you have a front cross and you get a wide turn, and your dog drops a little bit of speed on these because your dog is very sure that they're supposed to go this way over this jump, but now you're going to front cross and pull them this way. And all you need to do is get to your front cross a little bit sooner. Let's watch the dogs take off. So here your dog is taking off. Let's zoom in here. You see the front feet are in the air. And so if we look at your body, we see that you're driving forward, you're taking big steps, you have a lot of motion in this direction. So the dog is not thinking that they need to turn here. The dog is thinking that they're going to run pretty straight. And even as they're over the bar, you're still driving very hard in this forward direction. Now the dog is landed and you're starting your front cross. And because you start to rotate toward your dog is going to start turning toward you. The first thing they see is this off course. And that's the obstacle your dog thinks they need to take. But right now your dog still doesn't know that you're doing a front cross. Maybe you're doing a threadle or an RFP, a reverse flow pivot, but some kind of move that just brings your dog toward you and closer to that jump. Now you start moving in the correct direction. Apologize, I meant to do the arrows. And now your dog knows exactly where they're going. But you see your dog take one last longing look at that jump before they head toward you. So we just need to change that timing. And fortunately, you have a couple good front crosses later, so we'll do a comparison on the timing there. We move through the rear. This is the second point I wanted to make on this video here. So as your dog lands right here after this jump, and they're lining up the wingless, they're on a line in this direction, but you need to turn them this way. So whether you front cross or rear cross as the handler, I would recommend turning. Front cross is going to be this way, or a rear cross, which would be this way. That's your path in yellow, before this jump. So if they need to turn after this jump here, you want to do your cross before that jump. And why do we want to do that? Well, because at the takeoff point, again, we're going to freeze here. Your dog's feet are up in the air, so we're at the takeoff point. You're moving in this direction, and so your dog wants to extend and drive in this direction, but we need your dog to turn, and pretty sharply. And so you can see that your dog lands long and has to come back for this jump, rather than taking the jump closer to this wing. Your dog takes it closer to that wing. So if you rear cross before this wingless jump here, you're going to get a much better turn and save yourself a good 3 or 4 tenths of a second. It's a lot harder to push on a dog's path. So let's say your dog is here, this is you here. If you go this way, the dog almost always collides with you and takes a longer path. But now if we flip-flop you guys, and let's say this is you, this is your dog, right? And you pull your dog pulls much more nicely. You don't get this kind of L-shaped path. And so it's always easier in agility to pull your dog with you rather than to push into your dog. So front cross or rear cross, I would do it before that jump. So you want to think about where your dog is turning. If they're going to turn after a jump, you want to do your cross before that jump. Okay, now let's take a look at some of your good front crosses. But before we get to the 2 pretty good ones, we got one more late one. Here's the takeoff point over this jump, and you're still heading forward, looking forward, so the dog is going to be thinking about taking this jump here. And then you start to turn into your cross. You can see this one's not as bad because the dog can see it over the bar, but you can see they're a little slow and a little bit wide there. Maybe it contributed to the bar, but I don't think so. Okay, into the tunnel. Let's get to these 2. Okay, here's a very good one. So now let's go takeoff point. The dog's front feet are coming up in the air. And look, you're in good position. You're no longer moving forward, right? You're not moving forward, and you're actually into your rotation, and so you're going to get a pretty decent turn here. As the dog lands, you're about to take a step forward, and it's that step forward that really sets the line when we think about front cross footwork. And so that's why your turn here is pretty good, but your other turns were not as good. And here you see your dog runs with a little bit more speed and a little bit more confidence. Okay, we got one more front cross coming up. It's right here. Here's the approximate takeoff point, and you can see that you've already started your front cross. You've stopped your forward motion, so you're no longer driving in this direction. And so your dog is going to get a very good turn, and he's not going to look at this off-course wingless jump. And so on your front crosses, you just want to make sure that you're working on that timing. And when your dog is taking off, you want to make sure that you're at least halfway through your front cross. Now, if you can't get that far ahead of your dog, and if you can't get that timing right, then you should do a rear cross there. And I think that's going to help you a lot, because especially for your dog, you can see when you get the timing good, the dog is going to run with a little bit more speed. When your timing is late and your dog commits to an off course, yes, you're able to call them off and be successful and run clean, but your dog's confidence and trust in you drops just a little bit in that moment, and so their speed is going to drop off just for a little bit. And if you do that 2 or 3 times in a run, you're going to have a much slower time. The one other thing I wanted to show you, if we go back to the initial run, the initial front cross, is how far off you are in terms of timing. So if we look at it here, and we say you need to get to this spot in terms of your body position, right? And you want to do it as they're taking off. You're missing it by about one second. So on this really bad front cross, or late front cross, I should say, you're 1 second late, which is a lot of time. On some of your other front crosses, you're only a couple tenths of a second late. But that's the kind of sport that agility is, where we measure success and less success in tenths of a second, or at most even just 1 second. If you think about it, 1 second is almost no time at all. But that's the critical difference in this sport, and what makes it so much fun.